As a matter of fact, we do. We've got a very high wind and rain, and it's rough out there.
Okay, I was trying to get that put out in the chat room, but I had to take all these other calls. And I've got a question in the chat room, in the Blog Talk chat room. Mr. Chapman, how is Texas going to fare in the financial turmoil?
Well, I think Texas has done well so far. They're certainly going to be affected like every other state and every other country in the world. I think they'll do better than most other states. And so Texas is going to continue to do reasonably well under the circumstances.
Reasonably well, better than most, okay? I hear
That's right.
that. Mr. Chapman, I have presently live in Spain. I'm expatriated over here and picked up a real steal on a home that was based on, as you would say, foreclosed on, but the bank hadn't taken it over. I basically bought it out before the man lost the home. Do you see the market in Spain falling much further?
Yes, it will. One of the things that the banks have been doing is holding the prices at previous levels on their books. And let's take a $300,000 home that today is probably worth, let's say, $200,000. They're carrying the books at $300,000. They're hiding a lot of their problems, and so prices on homes are going down further. How much? It's hard for me to say, but if I had to guess, at least 20%.
Okay. He comes back in and he says, at least 20%. The deal that I thought I got may not be as good a deal, but at least I'm not going to be burned. I got this at 32% below the market value. And
how much is that down from the high that the house sold at previously at the peak?
24%.
So if you add 24 to 32, you've got it for over 50%. But the house still could get down another 20. This isn't over yet. One of the things I was going to get into today is sovereign debt. And, this is just the beginning of the collapse of the debtor system among countries. And as I have told you on this program before, the nations are going to have to get together a year and a half, in that time frame, probably, I'm guessing, from now, although I've been told that the Federal Reserve thinks that time frame will be a year from now, approximately at the end of the year. And they can be wrong, but over the next couple of years, there's going to be a meeting like the Smithsonian meeting of the 70s, the Plaza Accord of 85, the Louvre Accord of 87, where nations got together and they revalued and devalued currencies against one another and made a multilateral country-to-country debt settlement. This is going to come. It's the only way they can settle this problem. And I think the United States, among many other countries, are officially, domestically, going to devalue their currency. What they'll do with internal debt, I don't know. I know it's logical, but I don't know what they're going to do. There's no logic among the Illuminati, believe me.
That's very well put. Mr. Chapman, you consistently report that we should not believe what these mindsayers have from New York. However, today I got a notice that the commercial real estate loans have a potential to go sour. My daughter sent me a note telling me that she had received such a notice from a congressional watchdog group. The report said that the people should be starving off another bank loan crisis. Do you have any input that the commercial loans are going to go sour? Because I have 3 commercial loans on 3 sub properties.
Sub properties. What does that mean?
He sublent them or sub purchase. He's buying them on a lease to purchase.
Okay. In the United States, we have subprime loans that started to be made by Fannie and Freddie over a year ago. They'll come up for reset at the end of this year and beyond, because they're still writing them. They admit that 27% will go bad. My figure is 50 to 60. And I was right before I was ahead of them by 2.5 years. Well, I called the peak in the real estate market. And these homes are going to drop a minimum of another 20%. In the commercial area, with commercial properties, from top to bottom, it'll get down 75 to 80%. And it's hard to tell. It'll depend a lot on unemployment, which is not going away, believe me. You can't stop lending to small and medium-sized businesses. And I get some stats on that. It'll be in tomorrow's issue of Saturday's issue. It's about 19% the cutback in lending to small business. They create 80% of the jobs. So, getting back to the subject at hand, real estate. Real estate commercially was down from its high last year, 35%. It'll drop another 40. In the residential, probably 20, maybe more, because we got Alta loans that still got to come and be reset. We've got pick and pay loans, which are option arms that got to be reset for another 3 years. And then we got prime loans that are just getting the crap kicked out of them. And most of these are jumbos. And so we are nowhere near the bottom in real estate in the United States, nor in Ireland or in Spain. We've got a long way to go. Germany, it's going to be fine. They never had a rally in the first place. Now, there will be some erosion, but it'll be minuscule compared to the other countries. I have a report just come in this morning from a Dutchman who lives in France, who is a subscriber, gave us some information last week on what's going on in France, and he makes commentary about what's going on in Holland. This is going on all over the world, and all of you out there who are in other parts of the world, you know that. Americans don't know it because they don't read anything. They listen to the evening news, and unfortunately that's not very comprehensive. And so that's why people subscribe to the International Forecaster if you really want to know what's going on every week, everywhere. And so
twice a week you do that.
That's right, 40 pages each time. And in fact, last week, last issue, they got a breather. There was only 39, and the one before that, I think there was 31. But that's only because our internet was being switched, and we didn't have any emails for a week, and we lost them all. And so it made our job a little easier. But as far as the harvesting of research, that continued to go on because most of it doesn't come in that way. But anyway, that's where we're heading in real estate in the U.S. and worldwide, and It's going to become fashionable again to be a renter. So that's where you should be. You shouldn't be buying homes. I think perhaps maybe 4 or 5 years from now, that $300,000 home that used to sell for $800,000 in Marbella is probably going to be available for $80,000 or $100,000. I mean,
Wow.
that's how hard these countries are going to get hit. And this has happened before. It's nothing new. In fact, I was in Spain and in Marbella when the boom began. And that boom began in the early 1980s, and it didn't stop until 2 years ago.